process of implantation, the embryo in the blastocyst stage attaches to the uterus. After implantation, the blastocyst develops finger-like projections around it called chorionic villi. The outer cell mass, called the trophoblast, will form the chorion. The cells of the inner cell mass will give rise to all the cells of the organism and the other three extra embryonic membranes, that is, the yolk sac, allantois, and amnion. The chorionic villi and the uterine tissue become interlocked and thus form a structure called the placenta. As the human embryo grows, the umbilical cord develops and connects the embryo or fetus to the placenta. The placenta helps in the exchange of oxygen and nutrients between the mother and the fetus. Carbon dioxide and waste materials produced by the fetus are also removed via the placenta. The placenta secretes several hormones such as human chorionic gonadotropin, HCG, human placental lactogen, HPL, estrogens, and progestogens. HCG maintains the corpus luteum and stimulates it to secrete progesterone. After 11 to 12 weeks, the corpus luteum degenerates and the placenta starts secreting progesterone. Progesterone maintains the uterine endometrium throughout pregnancy and thus prevents menstruation. Progesterone also induces increased secretion of cervical mucus. This mucus forms a protective plug near the mouth of the cervix. Another hormone called relaxin is secreted by both corpus luteum and placenta. Levels of relaxin are high during the first trimester and at the time of delivery. Relaxin helps in softening the cervix, thus allowing the baby to be delivered. HCG, HPL, and relaxin are hormones that are produced in women only during pregnancy. The serum concentration of other hormones such as estrogens, progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine is also very high in a pregnant female. Immediately after implantation, the inner cell mass of the blastocyst starts differentiating to form the primary germ layers. This process is called gastrulation. The cells of the inner cell mass migrate, divide, and rearrange into an outer layer called the ectoderm and an inner layer called the endoderm. During gastrulation, some cells that are moving inward contribute to form the mesoderm, the middle layer. The embryo is now called the gastrula. Gastrulation establishes the body pattern, that is, each tissue and organ of the adult originates in one of the three primary germ layers of the gastrula. The ectoderm gives rise to epidermal tissue, nervous tissue, retina, lens, cornea, etc. The endoderm forms the inner lining of the digestive tract, liver, pancreas, inner lining of the respiratory system, urinary bladder, urethra, vagina. The mesoderm gives rise to the dermis, all types of muscular tissue and various connective tissues. The development of the major organ systems is called organogenesis. Some cells called stem cells are present in the inner cell mass. The stem cells are pluripotent, which means that they can give rise to any type of tissue except those of the placenta and the extra embryonic membranes. The developing embryo is protected by fetal membranes. These are the yolk sac, amnion, chorion, and allantois. They are not a part of the embryo and are called extraembryonic membranes. The extraembryonic membranes protect the embryo, prevent it from drying out, and help in obtaining food and oxygen and eliminating wastes. The closed sac between the embryo and the amnion, called the amniotic cavity, contains the amniotic fluid. The amniotic fluid acts as a cushion for the developing embryo and protects it from external blows. The amniotic fluid contains fetal cells. In a process called amniocentesis, the amniotic fluid is drawn out and examined to detect any abnormalities in the fetus. Embryonic development in humans is divided into 3 trimesters, spanning a period of about 280 days, or 9 calendar months plus 10 days. This period is counted from the first day of the last menstrual cycle until parturition and is called the gestation period. In the human embryo, the heart is formed after 1 month of pregnancy. The limbs and digits are formed towards the end of the 2nd month. Most of the organ systems develop towards the end of the 1st trimester, that is, in the 3rd month. The limbs and external genitalia are well developed by this time. During the 5th month, the fetus shows signs of movement and the appearance of hair on the head. Towards the end of the 2nd trimester, that is, in the 6th month, the fetal body is covered by fine hair, eyelids separate, and eyelashes are formed. A fully developed fetus is ready for delivery by the end of 9 months. The fully developed fetus and the placental hormones initiate mild uterine contractions. This is called the fetal ejection reflex. The fetal ejection reflex triggers the release of oxytocin from the mother's pituitary gland. Oxytocin stimulates strong uterine contractions. This in turn stimulates further secretion of oxytocin. This continues, resulting in stronger and stronger contractions. These muscular contractions of the uterine wall are called labor. The fetus is gradually pushed out through the birth canal. The birth canal is the passageway from the uterus through the cervix, vagina, and vulva, along which the fetus passes during natural parturition. The process of expulsion of the fully developed fetus at the end of the gestation period is called parturition. Another important event that occurs in the female during pregnancy is the differentiation of the mammary glands to produce milk. The production of milk by the mammary glands is called lactation. The milk produced during the first 2 to 3 days after parturition is called colostrum. It is rich in proteins and antibodies and low in fats. The antibodies present in the colostrum helps strengthen the newborn's immune system.